Speaking of activity, a guy that was really active at one point, and he's, it looks like activity might be an issue for him this year is South Florida's very own, but also Puerto Rican, but from the island. Xander Zayas, he was supposed to fight Patrick Teixeira. He pulled out, and now they're saying we're not going to see him till June, probably for the Puerto Rican day card.
It's a pretty long wait. Yeah, I was really surprised and disappointing of that. The fight fell off because Patrick Teixeira was definitely going to bring and show the world and us, whoever is a Zayas fan, of how good Zayas really is. Because Patrick Teixeira, he's known to beat. He's a very experienced guy. He can fight. I've seen him. I've seen the fight with Carlos Adame. He's known to beat Carlos Adame. He defeated him by decision. And I saw that fight, and I was like, just to see who Xander Zayas is dealing with, man. And he is dealing with a guy that's no slouch and who's a live dog in the ring. Blood on his face, getting outboxed in the first half of the fight. And all of a sudden, Carlos Adame started to wear down. The gas tank started to empty. And here comes Patrick Teixeira beating him up, blood on his face. And I was like, oh, my God. So this is Xander. This is who Xander Zayas is going to fight. Oh, my goodness. So I was excited, because this is the type of fight that Xander Zayas needs.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the last couple of opponents he had. Like he fought, what was the guy's name? I can't remember his name right now. Was it Carlos Formenta, whatever his name is?
Fortea.
Yeah, Jorge Fortea.
Jorge Fortea.
From Spain. Yeah, him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That was like, that was like taking Kenny from baby. Like that was straight mismatch.
Yeah. I think that was a worse mismatch than Jorge Valenzuela Jr.
Yeah.
Jorge Valenzuela Jr. was a more competitive fight.
Yeah. You mentioned one fight, and see, I've never even talked about this on my channel, but I heard you talk about it on your channel. You said that one fight you think is extremely competitive, and I would like you to break it down here, is
Sure.
Xander Zayas against Vito Mielnicki.
Yes, sir. I'm actually excited about that fight. Hopefully it happens sometime in the future. Both guys are the same age.
Yeah.
They got identical records, same amount of fights, same amount of knockouts. Just one has one loss, but has learned from that loss. And they both have a common opponent in Alexis Salazar.
Correct.
Xander Zayas went competitive 10 rounds with him in New York on ESPN. And Vitor blasted him out in one round in their fight, I think late last year or early this year. Sometime it happened recently, late last year. And I was like, wow. Because I met Vito in New York in person. I took a picture with him and all. Pretty cool dude.
Okay.
And he's a solid guy, man. Solid fighter, solid legs, solid upper body, good power, good fundamentals, excellent timing. So, and Zayas, we all know what a great counterpuncher he is, an excellent boxer puncher as well. So this is the fight that I think is going to be the future of the 154-pound division. These two guys are going to clash at some point, and I can't wait.
I like it. I think if as long as those guys keep winning, that could be a big fight in New York one day. All the Italians can come out, and all the Puerto Ricans come out, and I'm sure it'll create for a real fun atmosphere.
And Vito, who's from New Jersey, he could just cross the bridge.
Exactly, and plenty will cross the bridge with him. So
yeah, that's a perfect co-main event to a main event fight.
Yes, the fight I've always wanted to see Xander in, but it's probably never going to happen because this guy wound up losing, and they had a common opponent was him versus Eric Tudor because they're from the same area.
Oh, yeah.
Same amateur gym. There's a lot of believe it or not, most people know this, but there's a lot of history there with them. They used to have the same amateur coach, and then there was a big falling out. And anyway, Eric's having his first fight since the Jose Luis Sanchez loss on the Munguia undercard on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
His brother Sasha also is making his pro debut on that same card. But that's the fight I really wanted to see because I feel like that would have been really cool to have here in Florida because with the history they have.
Yeah, because I remember about that fight being talked about, and I remember you talking about it.
I was me, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Jose Luis Sanchez beat him, and I'm like, oh my God,
I couldn't believe it.
No way, that was an upset.
It was an upset.
And Zayas had a good solid test with Sanchez, even though he beat him. So I was waiting for Tudor to beat Sanchez.
Me too.
So now they could fight, and then all of a sudden Tudor lost the fight, which shows Sanchez is not as a cakewalk as you think he is. He's a pretty good fighter. Sanchez is a tough, durable guy as well.
Well, even when Jose Sanchez fought Adrian Granados a couple years ago, that fight wound up being a draw. I thought Granados could have got it, but it was a really close fight. So he's been tested, plenty of times and showed what he's about. And hopefully, boxing allows him to get some good opportunities because once you upset a prospect like Eric Tudor, you should be be able to try to progress your career.
Yes, sir. One of the fights that I've always wanted to see against with Zayas was Jahi Tucker.
Yeah, man, because Jahi Tucker wound up knocking out a stablemate, Nikolai Shekniazuli, whatever his name is. He's another Peter Kahn fighter. Really good fight.
I remember the hype around this fight. I think it was after the Alexis Salazar fight at the post-fight press conference. Xander Zayas was being asked questions, and all of a sudden, someone asked him, "Come on, I want you next. Let's make some money together." And Zayas is looking at the guy. Of course, the cameraman is facing Zayas. So I don't know who is Zayas talking about. Who's this guy? All I'm hearing is let's fight. I want you. And Zayas is like, no, you don't want me. You trust me. You don't want this. I'm gonna put you out of business. And next thing you know, we got a guy from Puerto Rico who's an unknown fighter. Well, based on the casuals. For the casuals, for the hardcore fan, he's a casual. He's the unknown fighter, but he's a C class in terms of the level of Zayas. Flex, I forgot his name. Flex.
Nicholas
Floss.
Yes.
So he came out of nowhere and beat Jahi Tucker, and I was like, "Holy crap, that was an upset!" And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, "You really want Zayas after that? No way." So the fight. So back to that Tudor situation, the hype is no longer really there, I guess.
No, it's not.
So yeah.
Shout out to Hyro with the super chat. He says, "What about 22-year-old contender Jesus Ramos?" I like Jesus Ramos. What do you think about What do you think about Jesus Ramos against Xander Zayas or maybe even a Vito Mielnicki?
I've actually wanted to see that fight. I always tell my subscribers and everyone that follows my page and on social media that Jesus Ramos versus Zayas is a future fight at 154. The classic chapter between Mexico and Puerto Rico. It sells itself.
Yeah.
And it's a good fight. Hopefully it happens. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Zayas hasn't fought anyone," but hey, I think he's ready for Jesus Ramos.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, and this is where I guess you could say have a bit of a problem with like Xander and how he's being moved. Like he's got a great management team behind him, and they got him to this point for by being great management, but. Like he's number 2 in the WBO or number 1. I know he's like in the top 2. He's ranked pretty high in the WBO. So he's right there on the cusp of fighting for a world title. He could fight like a Josh Kelly next and then maybe try to fight a Tim Tszyu. But then when you talk to, his handlers, because I have, that it doesn't really sound like there's that urgency there. So I feel like you either got to, move him a little quicker. I mean, I know he's young, but I'm just saying like if he's going to be ranked that highly, you should be moving a little bit faster towards the title shot. That's what I'm trying to say.
You got to be dropping him in there with the Sharks already.
Yeah. And I think he's good enough to take those step ups. And that's why I think it's frustrating to hear that he's going to sit out till June because I know his injury can't be that bad where it's all the way in June. Like you're going to make him sit out.
So that's what is that Zayas injured or that's Jesus Ramos?
No. Zayas. Because he pulled up the Teixeira fight. They're gonna set him out till June.
Yeah, because I was wondering why the fight got postponed. I never knew the answer to that.
Yeah,
is it an injury?
It was an injury. But,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know what injury it was. They could say it was an injury, but What about Zayas versus Fundora? Well, what do you think?
Well, I haven't seen Fundora since he got put on his back by Brian Mendoza.
Yeah,
that's a brutal knockout loss. Zayas hasn't happened to Zayas yet. Knock on wood. Of course, I hope it never happens. I hope he protects himself. And I think a fight with him and Fundora. I've always mentioned about that fight. If we don't get Jesus Ramos in there, I think a fight with Fundora is pretty good. In terms of style, Zayas, of course, a much shorter guy. Fundora is very tall for his weight class, very tall. So Zayas has a pretty good inside work, and I think he'll use that to his advantage.
Yeah,
and good counters as well.
But I don't think that's a fight. Like, even though it would be a good fight, I don't think that fight would happen because the whole PBC top rank dynamic. It's corny, but you know how it goes.
Yeah, politics and stuff like that. Again, we got in between. But in terms of style and fight, Fundora doesn't have the best defense. We saw it in the last fight. He gets hit a lot. And Zayas, with the combinations and the counters and the X and boxing IQ and skills, will definitely rip and tear Fundora up with counters and shots. I don't know if Fundora will last till the end, but I think Fundora will also stand his ground. It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight. It's definitely a big step up for Zayas.
No, it definitely would be.